Everybody's started it.
6 o'clock, so I'm going to call the meeting to
Right.
order. Everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dale, can you do roll call?
Yes. Michael Griffin.
Here.
Larry Idle. Here. Samantha Baggy.
Here.
Rudy Ramirez.
Here.
Scott Burke.
Here.
All right, everybody's here. Thanks for coming tonight. Is there any changes to the consent agenda?
I just wanted to point out under 6B, that is Senate bill. It is meant to be Senate Bill 819, not House Bill. So that's the only thing within our agenda that I need to point out.
Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda with that change?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move into a vote. Larry?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Ruby?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
I for myself, motion passes. Presentations, SHS leadership. Eleanor, is that you today?
Indeed.
Awesome. Go ahead and come on up here and tell us what you got to say.
We have had a busy few weeks with all of this snow and stuff. It's been kind of messy, one would say. The semester is coming to an end tomorrow for us, so we will be dealing with that. Some teachers have been given the opportunity to extend their due dates a little bit due to the fact that we had an entire week off. So we will be switching over with that, and that's kind of what's happening within the school. Seniors have been all signed up for slots to present their senior projects in early May, which I'm sure lots of you will be attending. And that is coming from, that's where we're all at in that. And then the leadership class has put a deposit down on our prom venue, which we have selected as Zenith Vineyards. So we will be going with that, and we're really shaping up to kind of have that figured out early. We are moving forward with continuing to fundraise so that we can have the bulk of that money ready when it needs to be. And our big fundraiser right now is we are having a Sadie Hawkins dance on the 3rd of February. And then moving into specific program updates, our music program is currently preparing for the festival season, so competing in competitions, both band and choir. And 4 of our students will be attending honor choir in early February. And then 2 of our students will be attending honor band. The date is currently unknown because it was rescheduled due to weather. So, our cheer team has been competing throughout their competition season. They've placed multiple times. We're really proud of them. And they're currently hosting a clinic for elementary and middle schoolers. Wrestling has been attending multiple tournaments. We've had multiple of our students place, including Joe Trammell, Seth Barnes, Alex DiPiero. We've had a handful of students who have placed higher up and won medals, so that's really exciting. We'll hopefully see at least a couple of our people go to state this year. FFA, we have people who are preparing for state convention. We're continuing to raise money and sign people up and get people interested in that. Upcoming competitions we're looking at, job interview and public speaking, which were rescheduled, and parliamentary procedure, which happens on February 15th. Basketball, our teams played Amity on Monday, and yesterday they played Santiam Christian. So they're, really in the swing of things. They have a game multiple times a week, so we don't see them often. Drama is putting on their play on Monday. at 7 o'clock. So that will be, I believe, the only performance of that due to scheduling things with how many sports are happening right now. But they'd really love to see people attend that. They've been working all semester on it. So they're really excited to present that. And the National Honor Society has continued to work with our counselor and everybody to contact people for moving forward with our career fair and get interested in that. We have contacted some organizations that have experience with finding people in different careers. So we're really excited to hopefully get a lot of different people for this year's career fair.
Any questions for Eleanor? Thank you. This was a great update. Okay, next, do we have any public input? None. Moving on to admin reports. We're going to start with our high school. Pat Schrader, the floor is yours.
Oh my. I got a partner up with anyway. In case I needed help. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. Glad to see you a week later than originally planned. I was last with you back in November, and at that time there were actually we had some questions come up about the student involvement with supporting families in our area regarding food for all. And from the time that we met, and by a couple weeks later, we actually were engaged in food for all this year. Our students were involved in providing some food resources for our local community. Over 7,000 pounds of potatoes were processed and 6,500 pounds of apples. In addition to that, our cheer team then was also present to help distribute those items at our local food bank, and they had a great time. So I appreciate the cheer team being engaged with that, and our FFA and agricultural students for being a part of that. We had a really successful blood drive a few weeks back. ASB President Carlitos Juarez was the lead on that. Over 60 lives were saved based on their calculations. Were 20 units our 1 unit saves up to 3 people. We do have another blood drive coming up on May 1st, and we would love to see anyone who's willing to donate sign up for that. That would be great. Eleanor mentioned a little bit about some of the stuff I highlighted in my college and career report. We recently and will continue to host financial aid and scholarship events for our families. They're invited. Ms. Holste conducts these. As we know, the financial aid process can be a bit cumbersome sometimes, and the processes. So we partner with Chemeketa Community College, and they come in and provide an evening, multiple evenings actually, where families can bring their paperwork in and actually sit down with assistants and complete all of the forms and processes online. It can sometimes be a multiple evening event because families realize they don't have documents. So providing multiple opportunities where they realize, or they receive tax information later. So it's a great opportunity for there. And also Ms. Holste was able to receive a grant this year that provided food for families so they could come in and not have to worry about dinner that night. So it was a big night. This next month, we'll have AVID students. We'll be attending a tour at Portland State University. With our AVID students, we try to give them a little bit of taste of everything of a community college experience. Portland State's an interesting one, being an urban, a large university, especially visiting their dorms, because their dorms are kind of high rises. They're not necessarily 2 or 3 stories tall like maybe many of us experience. You could live on the 8th or 9th floor and have quite a view of the city. So they actually get to visit dorm rooms and see what that is like. And then Eleanor mentioned the career fair coming up this spring. It's scheduled for April 10th. So far, we have several people already committed to participate. Those include Chemeketa, the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, Nurse Alana, our nurse here at the school, will have nursing interns from Oregon Health Science University and George Fox University available. Associated General Contractors of the Oregon and Columbia chapter. Logger for a Day from Oregon State University. I believe this is, I want to say Bazate's Construction. I'm not familiar with them, and Dutch Brothers Coffee. We have, again, more stuff about Winter Olympics, more about participation. Winter athletics, sorry, I think I said Winter Olympics.
You did.
I did.
That's okay.
That's right.
Got it.
Winter athletics. You can see the numbers there for our participation numbers. We have 16 young men playing basketball, 13 of our female students playing basketball. Our wrestling team is actually growing, and that's kind of a trend across the nation. Wrestling is a very popular high school sport right now, particularly among female athletes. At the time of this, we had 2 females wrestling. I am not sure if they are still, so that number might have changed. And then this is the competitive, although cheer, you see our cheer team going and being involved all year round, but winter is actually the OSA competitive season. So their participation numbers there, you can see we have 13 young ladies and 3 boys who participate in that. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to John Canzano, who many of you might know. He's a pretty well-known, he did used to work for the Oregonian. He's kind of gone off and is doing his own media production. He has a radio show that is broadcast, I think it's 7:50 a.m. So on Friday, he has also the John Canzano Foundation, which is a nonprofit that is used to support high school athletics. So our football coach, Coach Drew Carter, was able to coordinate with Mr. Canzano and then our team captain, Brady Wofford. They were actually were hosted on his show on January 12th. I listened. It was fantastic. It was neat to hear our student talk about their experiences and also some of the challenges our football and all of our athletes face in our community. And then Coach Carter came in and just did a great job talking about how important athletics and participation is to support students in the classroom, in their community, and as just a life skill in general. And we don't have a final dollar figure yet, and I don't want to necessarily hint at it too much, but it's pretty sizable from what I hear. They're still getting money in, so that those contributions are made to the Canzano Foundation, and then they distribute those funds. Those are earmarked accordingly. So I think it's going to be pretty cool number when that comes out. So that's what's been going on at the high school over the last couple of months between winter weather and holiday break. Since we were last together in November, there actually hasn't been a lot of school days since then.
Any questions for Pat?
Will there be a flyer for the blood drive?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there'll be flyers. We'll post stuff. It'll be available on the website, and then there's flyers in the building itself. And then the students who organize it, they go out and seek people out. So I will encourage them to seek you out as well as members of our community to get you signed up for that.
Okay. And how does somebody contact, or who would somebody contact to sign up for the career fair? And can we kind of advertise that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you can email me and also CC our Drew Carter, our football coach, is also our counselor and advisor for the National Honor Society. So he's the adult lead. We try to make it a student-led event. We want them to do most of the planning, but he's the contact. Now he's going to be out for a period of time on a medical, so that's why include me on that email in case he's not able to respond. I can help out with that.
Any other questions? All right.
All right, thank you.
Next up is Melissa. Hello. Welcome, Missy.
Hello.
You didn't need a partner either.
Nope, I don't need a partner either. No, thank you. All righty. So earlier this year, I kind of explained to you about Senate Bill 819, which is the abbreviated day bill when it comes in regards to students on IEPs and 504s. So just a little bit of an update. We made our first report, and we reported 0, as I said at that earlier meeting. The state came back to us in December and wanted to inquired about all of our students on IEPs and the number of access to meaningful minutes they were accessing. This kind of turned into a real learning curve for Dory and I, Miss Vickery and I, because some of the things that we thought as we read the bill were perspectives were different. So OD's perspective came back and they revealed 13 students that were not in compliance with Senate Bill 819. And out of these 13 students, one was so what we had to do is we had to submit all the meaningful minutes comparison group. So a third grade, let's say a third grade group, were receiving, and it's 420 if you want to know for K-8, and 455 for high school. And then how much each student on an IEP or a 504 were receiving. And so when I filled it out, I put in that a parental choice, meaning a student who was is not coming to school because the parents have chosen not to have them come the whole day. I put their actual meaningful minutes they were accessing. Well, it came back to that's not how you fill out that form. The form is they have access to it, which we did the proper paperwork to show they had access, but because I put the number wrong or the different number, it came back as a flag. So one was a parental choice. One student was on another parental choice, another student that I talked to you about, but we found out through ODE, through a conversation with ODE, that because we provided the transportation for him, he would fall under a Senate Bill 819. So we were not aware of that at that time. So then 8 students, again, we're on a 4-day week. The 8 students are on outside placements and they go 5 days a week. So the calculation for them is different than the calculation for everybody else. Again, we're not aware of that until I contacted one of the outside placements. So we fixed that. Then 3 students in an outside placement in a program didn't offer comparable minutes. Those 3 students are transitional students. Those are students that are 18 to 21-year-olds that have graduated with either a modified diploma, a certificate, or regular diploma that still can receive special education services. And the program that they had been placed in and have been placed in since they graduated from high school, that program did offer, because again, the perspective of that program was that they were being compared to other 18 to 21-year-olds, not seniors in high school. So we spent a lot of time last week doing a corrective action. So we recalculated the minutes and showed that there were that those 8 were actually over minutes. The parent agreed to an abbreviated day, the one we had for transportation. So we're following that Senate Bill 819. And then the program that we had was a Wilhelmina's transitional program. Starting yesterday, yesterday they started going full-time 5 days a week. So that took care of that. So right now, we reported 5 students who have an abbreviated day. 3 of them will drop off or did drop off yesterday. And then we do have a new move-in from Elmira School District that came to us on an abbreviated day. So we will continue that till we get to know the student. So, and we have not heard anything else from the state since we submitted. I'll take that back. I got a thank you from the state for submitting the form once I submitted it.
So apparently,
There's still a chance they're going to get back to you and say something.
We don't know. I mean, the letter that we stated gave us 5 days to gather all the data. And so every letter that we've gotten from ODE has given us a timeline about when they were going to refer or get back to us. And there was nothing there.
apparently this bill was much more complicated than
Oh, yeah, and
And
it's.
if that's the case, then it has to fall back on ODE as far as I'm concerned. Better telling and corrections or whatever needs to be done.
Mhm.
Once again,
So.
you know my whole thing with the state. personally.
I would like to add to, first of all, Missy did a great job of jumping in and really doing the analysis on this and figuring out, where we're at. Working with our out-of-district placement, those districts, and also in communication with ODE. We did have an attorney through the Hungerford Law Firm work with us on this and work on the narrative response. While we are in compliance, we did push back. It does not make any sense that a student who has graduated is in a comparison group with other seniors. And that is a difference between attorneys advising school districts, we're not the only district, and the Oregon Department of Ed. The Oregon Department of Ed and their interpretation, and we followed it. We followed exactly what they told us to do. To get into compliance with their interpretation. But their form, on their document on transition students specifically says the comparison group is to seniors. So that's the number that we end up having to use, but it was a 6-page narrative that we submitted to ODE a week ago yesterday, last Tuesday. We had an attorney review all that, and interestingly enough, we also pointed out that when the state first sent us the original data, there was no interview or conversation. I mean, I think a lot of this we could have learned and cleaned up, especially on our 4-day to 5-day. And then when they returned the data to us on the 13 students, they had quite a few of them placed at CHOPA. And we quickly turned around and said, okay, we need to do some corrections here on these students and making sure that we've got this all correct. So we sent back a corrected version, we sent back the narrative, and then Missy also included all the documentation to show that we are now in compliance. So now we wait.
One more thing. You stated the one that's going to Willamina is going into a 5-day
Yep,
school.
yeah.
Where you had it at as a 4-day school, right?
So the one with the 3 of them, the students who are in the transition program, up until yesterday, they were only going 4 days a week and only 4 hours a day because they were going to McMinnville and learning how to ride the bus, and they were going to they worked at the job, the food bank, and they were doing practical daily living experiences. And so that's how their program ran. And then when we brought this up to Willamina, actually to all of our outside placements, that's when they decided to make it full day. So they switched on a dime, and now the students are going a full day, Monday through Friday.
So these students are transported by the school district?
Yep, we transport them to Willamina, yeah.
So we will be transporting them on Fridays over to Willamina.
Yep, yeah, all of our districts or all of our outside placement students go 5 days a week. And so they go on Fridays, all of them. There's 11 of them. Or no, there's 15 of them, I believe. So, yeah.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Wow, sounds like it was a big task. All right,
Okay.
it's your turn.
All right. Good evening. Superintendent report for January of 2024. All right. This report is on the Roberts Career Tech, an update. We are into our design phase and going through what I am told is a valued engineering list. It is also my term called a cut list, where we start looking at all the things that we would be purchasing for the new building and what do we want for flooring and what do we want for sinks and fixtures and all of that. The legislative short session is coming up in February. We are putting in a request for $5 million. The congressionally directed spending, we've had conversations with Congresswoman Salinas, and the request, we'll be putting in a request for $3 million, and both of those would be for going towards construction costs. And then we did receive the CTE revitalization grant with Perrydale and Amity School Districts, Amity Fire District, Sheridan Fire District. And the $500,000 will go towards a fire tower on the property. And we are reviewing a phased approach, a stage 1 and a stage 2 construction plan. The fire tower, the model is called the Lieutenant. You can Google and search that and it will come up with the specs. And I think there's a meeting tomorrow night where they're going to be reviewing the specs with our 2 fire chiefs and figuring out exactly what to order. This is a kit that comes to us, and then we will be having to develop the area around the tower site. And here's a picture of what the fire tower looks like. And then as we consider the phase 1 construction plan, the pre-phase work would be to demo the building. And do you remember how much that was going to cost? About
Well, to demo and build it back up and get it ready to just let it rest is $1 million.
$1 million. Okay. And the phase 1 construction plan would be the main entry, office space and restrooms, along with the firefighting classroom with exterior access and the CTE lab and truck driving.
And
Go
the
ahead.
demoing is like a pre-phase 1. So it's part of phase 1, but it's really separate because they would love it if we could tear the building down. We have to tear up all the cement. We have to build up the rock, the 3 feet, let it get compacted, all that. The longer it can sit, the more stable of a foundation we'll have. So we'll have less cracks and different things like that. So they said 6 months to a year would be phenomenal if we can do that. So we need to be prepared to know that'll be the first thing that happens, which we already knew. The building has to come down before a new one can go up.
What are they doing with the building? Is it going-
Recycling it.
Yeah.
It'll go to recycle.
And what?
It's gonna be recycled, just thrown in a,
All that metal.
Yeah, I think they'll find someone that'll come.
somebody try to put it on eBay, somebody will buy it.
Well, then you're at the mercy of the person who's
Doesn't
it
really
down,
come
too,
apart.
so.
What does it look like when it sits? Is it just a big crushed rock pad? Like in the middle
I
of the
don't
field?
know.
I don't know.
I'm just curious.
I know they kind of described it, but I don't really know what it
Yeah,
looks like.
okay, no
Yeah,
worries.
Trevor with Bremick would be the one to ask on that one.
I got a question.
I can take that question back.
Yeah, maybe he can show us like
From
what a normal site looks
I
like.
wonder-
Warrior
Yeah.
yourself,
What's that?
who's all on the task force,
The advisory committee?
advisory committee?
Do you have that list in front of you?
No, but I can say Samantha and I, Danielle Dickey from the tribe. We have Jim Buckles from City Council, Abisha Stone from SEDCOR, and Bob Collins from OTEC, and Trevor DeLuca from Bremick. And I'm going around the table visually as we sit there. And, and then Adam Whalen has joined us from the Willamette ESD. And then Abisha is for each of these pathways performing, putting together an advisory of 3 to 4 people from industry. But the group
And the grant writing.
and the grant writing people, right. Elaine Navarro, our grant writer, she is also on there. So you have grant writing, OTEC, Bremick, Sheridan School District, WESD, SEDCOR, and the tribe all represented on our advisory committee now.
And then there's subcommittees from each of those for each of the pathways too, that have different people on it.
When we first said we
You
were
could
gonna tear
probably
it
send out the
down,
list. to
Yes, I can.
I think it was Bob Collins or somebody in the group said that they were gonna take it all down and set it aside and go pick out stuff they can use back in the new building. All right, you know if they're still gonna do that? 'Cause they
We
said
could
they
ask
had
Bob.
those great big beams, they might be able to reuse those.
They did make a comment here recently, I think it was Trevor that was talking to me, that they're all custom made specifically for that building, but it is something we could ask.
But you need a big storage shed?
Right.
Is
A
that
giant gantry that's still
Yeah.
sitting in there.
Is that the paint shop too? They gotta knock that down.
No, they're keeping the paint shop. It's gonna be a smoke room for the fire department.
All right, so this slide shows, and I know it's kind of hard to see, but this part of the building, this is the main entrance. This is restrooms and office space. And then this is the fire science, fire training room. And this is the diesel tech lab. And the reason why I did this proposal was because the other grants that we have already purchased the items for students to start to learn diesel tech. We have the funding to purchase the truck driving simulators, and we just got the grant for the fire tower. So it made sense in the structure of the building. But what they're really looking at for phase one is that, like over here's the electrical room, they would still do things to the entire building that would not cost us more in phase two, if that makes any sense. And the example they give is the sprinklers. So it is more cost effective to do the sprinkler system for the entire building when it's being constructed. So we are just starting to go through that rather than sprinkle only to the part that's going to be used and then wait and then sprinkle the rest of the building. So,
Well, and fire code says we're gonna have sprinklers anyhow. So
Right.
we might as well run them where they need to be.
So phase two is gonna be manufacturing lab and agricultural lab.
right, and the
So
rest
are
of the
they gonna
classrooms.
are they gonna put those classrooms in there, or are they not only gonna go with phase one and stop and then put those classrooms in phase two?
Yeah, it'll just be like an open building, is my understanding.
Mhm.
Now, if for some reason we get all the money and we can do it all at once, that would be the best.
And when are we talking about how much money now?
$14 million right now.
Mhm. But the other thing too that I've talked about is it's a brand new building.
Yeah.
It's a center for 4 pathways with 100 students in CTE classes, and it's a brand new building with solar panels on the roof.
With a
And-
warranty.
With the warranty
And
and
earthquake readiness. We don't
Yeah,
have to worry
with
about
a
that.
solid foundation right now,
Yeah.
that foundation out there is iffy.
Well, and then just being able to rewire or have
Yep.
good wiring and good internet.
Actually, I think that's the
and-
one thing that's supposed to be okay out there.
it's the
Is
wiring.
the wiring. There's supposed to be enough power. I don't know if the wiring's.
The power's there.
The power's there.
But we are in the site development phase with the city and awaiting their comments.
Yeah, we still have sidewalk things we have to figure out, bus routes, all that kind of stuff.
So if we get the $8 million from the legislature and Congress, then we'll only need $6 million, and then that'll be the whole building.
Right, to finish. We have to remember inflation's pretty rough.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
by the time we get to phase two, it could be more than that.
So that's why I'm saying, why don't we just go ahead and try to put those walls up? You don't need to use the
If
classroom.
the money's there, we'll totally do it.
Yeah, we may end up doing that. And the other conversation that we're having is for donated materials, like going to Cascade Steel. And they have offered,
Radius.
If you're gonna go into manufacturing
Sorry.
labs, why don't you find the people that's interested in that and see if they would be willing to put money into that to help build it to the way they would like to have it built?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
And if you guys know anyone that would want to partner with any of us, like,
Has it
we'll
been
talk to them.
talked to the,
What's classified as
Forest
manufacturing?
River is on our list.
manufacturing, I have
It's
learned,
wide and
is
far.
it's very far. We've talked about
You know,
partnering with
I don't know.
Sea Reach
Why not
here in Sheridan.
go with, see if PGE would be involved?
We're already working with PG&E. Yep.
How about Northwest Natural Gas?
I don't know.
I don't
haven't
think
heard
so.
anything about them.
No.
We should have Brent reach out to them. Yeah, that's a good one.
So
And then-
my other updates, the Winter Tech Luncheon was on Monday. We had over 30 people attend. We had a debrief meeting today and we're starting to follow up. Thank you for attending, but then also talking about next steps. And then Congresswoman Salinas did the visit yesterday, and we had a few students out there to get to meet her. And just talking with her, she's very excited about this project and support for it. We did learn from Representative Elmer that there could be federal funding that would match state funding. So that's the conversations we're starting to have, that Brent is going to be doing, is finding out what federal funds are available. The other federal funding that we're going to be looking into has to do with FCI and training for inmates to re-enter the workforce. We've talked about the facility being used for training on weekends. So there could be grants related to that. So we're just going to.
Especially our first two pathways.
Yes, definitely the first two
And that
pathways.
firefighter room, I don't know if you guys remember, but it's actually the one that the community will have access to if they want to use it. So it'll be like a code pad and they can go in, they have bathrooms, they have meeting room, that kind of stuff. So another advantage.
So we mentioned about the advisory committee meeting. Abisha Stone with SEDCOR. She's conducting the industry partner meetings right now. And then our current focus on the pathway development and along with starting with the curriculum and aligning to Chemeketa is our firefighting EMT training and diesel tech and truck driving. All right, any questions on this part? Okay, I'll have more updates for you next week. And I do want to mention that January is School Board Appreciation Month. And you do have a little gift bag. You also have an adorable little booklet from first graders. This is from Mrs. Chadwick's first grade class that she dropped these off earlier today. So we wanted you to have those along with the certificate that you're all superheroes. So this is School Board Appreciation Month, and I certainly do appreciate each of you and the skills and knowledge, leadership strength that you bring to Sheridan School District. So thank you.
Well, these are appreciated.
Yes, these are super cute.
Yes.
I will let her know. In fact, I thought about going back and visiting her classroom and just
Well,
thinking.
you'll have to let her know. I mean, I haven't been on the board as long as some of you, but I've never gotten anything like this, so that's really touching.
With that.
Kids
Like math
writing
and
stuff
lunch.
to us.
Yeah, we've got something in the past. That's what I still can't.
Not in the recent years, well,
You do like a big card and recycle.
okay. No, untouched.
For one day and then you.
Okay. All right, so financial reports, Karen.
Okay. I mainly wanted to say that we got the audit back. I have a copy of it if anybody wants to read it.
It's for board.
Exactly. Need something to put you to sleep at night. And then you also got the copy of the report to the board. The main things that came out is that we ended up in the black, so that's always a good thing. We have the resolution for the audit corrective action plan, and this is the one that we get every year because I'm not a CPA and I can't do anything to the audit materials. The other things that she brought up was, and these are not findings, so they're not like official, but she just wanted to say the review and approval of journal entries. And so because we are such a small staff, like I do a journal entry, I approve it, and then it posts. And journal entries are things like we have someone being paid out of a grant, but oh wait, now they're going to go to a different grant, so I'll move their payroll expenditures into this new grant. Like at my old office, I would put a journal entry in, put all my backup in and stuff, and then it would go to like the CFO and she would approve it, and then it would get posted. So what I told Corey would be the best thing, I think, is I will print out my journal entries and give them to Kale, and I'll explain to Kale can look at it, and then he can just, like sign off on it or whatever, and then we'll approve it. So it's not like I'm doing everything behind the scenes or whatever, so somebody knows.
Just like a second set of eyes.
Exactly. And then the other one was the reconciliation of cash. And this has kind of been a thorn in my side. The e-finance does not do a nice, easy bank reconciliation. So usually at home, if you're using Quicken or whatever, you just go through, do your bank rec, it's all perfect. Of course, e-finance does not work that well. So what they've been doing is Emily goes through and at the end of the month goes through and she has to like re-enter everything into Quicken, and then she does a bank rec. So that's what bothers me is it's very inefficient for her having to do that. But anyway, I'm working with eFinance to try and get it within the system. We're still working on some of the stuff. So Corey was just wanting to make sure that, you know, what Emily's doing matches like what's in eFinance. And we're working on that process. I check the bank balance every single day, so it's not like we're gonna, you know, run out of money or whatever. So it's been one of on my list ever since I started to get that bank correct process working.
Is there a better program that you can use?
Yes,
Then go out
but
and get
they're
it.
so expensive to have your hosted. I'm hoping with, you know, us moving to like the different Power School stuff, maybe Power School will have something, but I feel like Power School's like buying everything in all sorts of different software programs. So anyway, I'm working on that. And so what I'm hoping is once I get everything into eFinance and I can do my bank rec, I can include that in, you know, the board report so you guys can see what's on the bank rec. So I'm working on that. The other thing, so there's the resolution for the corrected audit plan, action plan. And then another one, another appropriation authority because we keep getting more money. And so this one's for $500,000 for the CTEC revitalization grant. And then I think we got the solar planning grant a while ago and I forgot to do this. So we haven't spent anything out of it because I haven't claimed any of the funds, but that's the other thing I need approved, if you would please.
How many grants do we have?
About $1 million. Oh my gosh.
That was one of the reports I was going to give to the board. It's just an overview of each of the grants, the various buckets that we spend out of, how much in FTE from that grant. The big ones are the ones that covers for special education. But then we also have this new CTE grant. The SIA is a big one. It's almost 700,000. Then we have our federal grants. It's around 400,000.
And then we have like
High school success.
And then we have like food service, but then we also have fresh fruits and vegetables and local food farm to school. And just,
There's a lot of grants.
yeah,
I think a list would be interesting.
okay. I will do that for next
All
month.
right, any other questions for Karen? All right, any new unfinished business that's not on the agenda? Okay, we're gonna move into executive session via ORS 192.660 to consult with counsel concerning the legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed. Who would the board like to have
Live in 1, 3, 2, 1.
And we're live. So we have some action items to take care of today. The 22-23 audit.
I don't have the audit itself. That is the
That's
handout
the
that you
big
have.
handout. Perfect. It's too big to throw on the screen. Yes, that's this book. Is there a motion to accept it as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It was seconded. Any further discussion on the audit? Hearing none, we'll move into a vote. Larry?
All right.
Scott?
Aye.
Ruby?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Aye for myself. Motion passes. Next is Resolution 24-03, which is the audit corrective action plan that Karen was talking about earlier. Is there a motion to accept it as presented?
Move to accept as presented.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, moving into a vote. Larry?
All right.
Scott?
Aye.
Ruby?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Aye for myself. Motion passes. Next is Resolution 24-04, appropriations of funding. This is for the fire tower and the solar grant. Is there a motion to accept as presented?
So motion, so be it.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Larry?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Ruby?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Aye for myself. Motion passes. All right. Topics for the next meeting. Does anybody have any suggestions? Anything that they haven't heard about in a while?
Are we doing a strategic plan update
Mhm.
there? And then what was the other thing we talked about was talking about the bond person.
Yes,
Okay. I don't remember what we talked about.
Yeah, we should have an update by then.
Yeah.
yes.
Great.
Anything else? Again, if you think of anything between now and the next meeting.
It will be time for my evaluation.
Yep.
So we'll have an executive session in February and then for the evaluation and then negotiate the contract in March, which is actually the recommended OSBA timeline.
Yay.
Amazing. I know. Let's get it on schedule.
Is there any materials we're going to get beforehand to go through?
Yes, yes, I will
Or
send
to
those
do
out.
Before that, okay.
Mhm.
For the evaluation.
All right, board comments. We'll go around the room. Larry, you got anything?
Yes. Ruby, are you on the Sheridan? The. I can't even think of it yet.
She's very involved. so I'm not sure.
Revitalization?
The financial, I mean, the educational committee.
No.
Didn't you say you
Transition.
wanted to be on that?
Yeah. Kale, have they started meeting? I don't.
We have one meeting.
Okay.
We will get you.
Yeah, but
an
I want to
invite.
make sure because it was coming. It was coming to me, yeah, we're having a meeting and I'm going. I'm not on that, so.
I mean, I can only join if I can join in Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah. The work distance.
Perfect. They'll get it set up. Anything else, Larry?
No.
Scott?
Well, we kicked this around a little bit last time, I think just offline, but I don't want to put any more work on Kale's shoulders or anything, but it'd be nice if we could get a Zoom option for these meetings too, for the community and for, not like we want to have ourselves zooming in all the time, but we could have met when it was icy if we needed to, or
Yep.
there's times when people are out of town or can't make it. So it's just something to think about because we probably have to invest money into that.
Technology.
So just
Mhm.
looking down that road.
Mhm.
I would agree. Ruby?
No comments today.
Mike?
No.
All right, I have a couple things. We have a board calendar change potentially for the April meeting. We'll have it as an action item on the next board meeting, so next month, if everyone's okay with moving the April meeting. Currently it lands when Dory needs to be gone to that Studer event that she invited all of us to go to as well. So there's a chance some of us will be gone as well. So maybe the following week? Is that what you were thinking? So if everyone can just check their calendars and be ready for next month when that comes up as an action item,
So from the 17th to the 24th.
Right.
Okay.
potentially. Yeah. We also need to talk about the topics for the February 7th work session.
Mhm.
And do you want to run with that a little bit, Dory?
Sure. Just reviewing my notes from our board work session and talking about scheduling our breakfast with key community people. My suggestion is that we go ahead and have the board work session, and I could invite Sean just to start talking about updating our long-range facility plan. And at that time, I can also talk about Kyle's proposal, and we can also discuss hosting this breakfast. So the topics would be long-range facility planning and the bond for February 7th.
Does that sound good to all of you?
Okay.
We'll run with it. Oh, Kale?
I kind of forgot about this, but there's also a March work session. And I will be training
Okay.
during that March work session, so I don't know if I have it or if someone else take minutes. I was gonna bring that up, I just realized that I would.
You would there. Okay.
Maybe at our
Thank you.
February one, we can kind of forecast a little and see what we want to do there.
What's the date on the March one that we have?
The 6th.
March 6th.
With the bond, we'll probably need it. So we could either move it or have someone else do the note. We were gonna have 2 students here today.
They could not make it. It's the end of the semester.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot right now. So hopefully they'll be here next month, but we need to talk about what we're gonna, like, how we're gonna go from here. So Dory had them apply, she interviewed them, or she's talked to them. Do we all want to meet them, talk to them? How do we want to onboard our students? Like, we never really got that far. So those are things we need to think about. Maybe we could add a quick discussion on our work session with that as well.
Mhm.
Invite
Before
the
we
kids
know
there,
it,
maybe.
they're not gonna be here
It's gonna
for
be
the
the end of the
year.
year. Yes, I know. I'm
I
just excited
believe,
that we
I
had-
believe they're both juniors, and we could just ask
we
them to
could just
stay
roll it
on.
over if they're willing to
Uh-huh.
stay.
Mhm.
So, we just never figured out that part, so we need to figure out what we want to do as a group.
I like the idea of inviting them on the 7th, and then we could put that maybe as topic first and give them the option to stay, and then you can have time to talk to them and ask questions and then figure out the process for the February board meeting to have them seated
Right,
as board members.
perfect. Sounds like a good plan.
Gonna have
2.
two
Mhm.
setting at the same time.
Mhm.
Okay.
Non-voting
Yep.
members.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I just thought maybe 2. I thought it maybe one for 6 months and the other one for 6 months.
No.
I don't know how that would have,
Well, I think with 2, then hopefully at least one will make it most of the time. Yeah.
yeah.
So that, I'm sure they have
You're probably
sports
right on that
conflicts
part.
and other things, so. Yeah, that'll be the hope anyhow. And then like Dory mentioned, in February, we'll have executive session for evaluation. And then the last thing I want to talk about, I went and got a Shapa tour. It was really good. The things they're doing over there is pretty awesome. I love hearing that they're working with us and they understand their scores reflect our scores reflect their scores at the state level. So it's really cool to see that they're having some successes in areas that we're struggling in, and now they're going to come in and help teach us in those areas. So they said all of you are welcome to come for a tour, and they would love to have you guys. So if you've not been in their building anytime soon, reach out to Jessie. She would love to have you guys over there. That's it for board comments. Next meeting is February 21st at 6 p.m. And then there's some upcoming events, and we're going to adjourn at 7:27 p.m.
Great, thank you.
All right.